Good morning, folks. It's another great, wonderful day the Lord has made. He woke us up once again, gave us a Bible verse for today, and that Bible verse for today comes from the book of Romans, chapter 14, and verse 13. Let us not therefore judge one another any more, but judge this rather, that no man put a stumbling block or an occasion to fall in his brother's way. Now, you see, it's so very, very easy to be judgmental of others, but the thing about it is we don't know their struggles, and we absolutely don't know their situation most of the time. See, but most of all, we surely and for sure do not know their hearts. See, when we're judgmental, we kind of erect a barrier between ourselves and others. See, so that barrier is kind of hard to break down after we build it up there. But see, we often spread that judgmental impression to others simply in gossip. And you know, gossip is the biggest liar that ever lived, I believe. And because gossip, most 90% of the time, I would say that gossip is 99% untrue. See, it starts out with a 1% of truth to it, and then it is graduated, multiplied, and motivated into 99% pure untruth. See, but the thing about it, our stubbornness to only view them with a judgmental spirit erects a barrier or a stumbling block that can cause them to become discouraged and to stumble. See, and a lot of times when a person is discouraged and they get that stumbling block thrown out into them, they give up, they quit. They very, very long time, if ever, come back to God, to seek God again. I'll tell you the story of an alcoholic that I know. He went to church one night with his wife just because he felt like he should, see. And he sat on the back pew of the church, and there he sat there, and as the altar call was given, he was crying like a baby. God was really working with his heart and with his spirit. See, but then the people got to looking at him like he was some kind of a dummy or some kind of fool or something like this, because he was not clean. He was unkempt. It just came from work, and the work he does was dirty work. See, so the pastor, or so-called pastor, I better put it that way, went back to him and he said, "Mister, why don't you go home and clean up and quit your drinking and then come back and enjoy church with us?" Well, that killed that spirit in that man. I mean, God just totally left. He left the whole church. See. But the thing about this, that man was so discouraged that he just didn't want to have nothing else to do with church for years. But I'm glad to say that the man did come back to God later, because he finally got into a church that actually cared about him instead of about his appearance. See, but the thing about this, that pastor, or so-called pastor, has really got a price to pay. I don't know if the pastor was what he was trying to prove, but that's not the way God works. God saves you and then cleans you up. And to the things I've always seen, and God really had a time getting that man back to church. See, so if that alcoholic would have died and went to hell, what shape would that pastor or so-called pastor have been in? See? And if you go to a church and the pastor goes back and talks to somebody like that, the first thing you do is run. Because that pastor is not of God. And I'm going to say that with a straight out heart. Folks, think about it. Pray about it. Don't become a stumbling block or a point of discouragement to anybody that comes to your church or comes to you to ask you about the salvation plan of God. Think about it. Father, I ask you to conform my attitude toward others to match the redemptive grace that you have for them. See? I want to be more patient with the failures of others, just as you are, especially as patient as you are with my failures. Lord, forgive me for not being more of an encouragement to those who are weak and struggling, and open my eyes, Lord, to the ways I can be a blessing to them. Father, forgive me for the times I've been a hindrance to others. And Lord, open my heart to share your blessings with them. And God, I ask it in Jesus' holy name. Amen, amen. Think about it, folks. We need God's forgiveness before we can do anything else. And if we catch ourselves being a stumbling block, the first place we ought to head is to the altar, to God, to talk to Him about redemption of our own soul. So think about it, folks. Pray about it, and ask God to lead you and guide you and keep you from becoming a stumbling block or a point of discouragement. And with that, folks, I'm going to say that's all for today.